We 3 away from 150, my nigga. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. And let's do it. With the death battle. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Doggos, me, you talked about this shit too, my nigga. Bro, Cell versus Sonic is a crazy battle, bro. That's a crazy setup. This nigga Metal Sonic is fighting a downhill battle. Like, this don't even look right. It don't even look right, man.
Cell versus Metal Sonic.
Which copycat android is truly the superior model?
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. There's a monster stalking Gingertown. No one who's seen it has lived to tell the tale. All it left behind was their clothes. Something ate these people's insides, leaving only a shadow behind.
That was probably the darkest moment, one of the
driven
darkest
only
moments
by the
in
need to feed.
Dragon Ball Z.
Earth's new apex predator, the ultimate life form.
The Namekian Piccolo went to investigate this manslayer and discovered that it was intelligent. Its tail could unravel to absorb its hapless victims and add their energy to its wretched gestalt.
But the nightmare was only just beginning, because for its last trick, somehow this freak of nature knew the Kamehameha.
The mystery of this creature's origin
Nah,
was
Cell was
decades
actually
in the
OP.
making. Years ago, the world was terrorized by the most advanced paramilitary organization in history, the Red Ribbon Army.
Until they got rocked by this little kung fu gremlin, Son Goku.
But Red Ribbon's dream of revenge lived on within their head scientist, Dr. Gero.
Hiding away in his spooky cave laboratory, Gero would go to work studying the Z-fighters from afar, learning everything there was to know about them.
And building a series of androids that would destroy his spiky-haired nemesis once and for all.
He made a ton of them. Infinite energy androids, key-absorbing androids, trucker head androids, and even... ginger androids.
However, none of Gero's creations were capable of matching that drive to improve that Goku and his fellow martial artists possessed.
Luckily, he had one more android left. A cute little booger so complex he'd take years after Gero's death to complete. Its name was Cell.
Born from a single cell, get it? This android possessed the genetic information of all the greatest warriors that had battled on Earth, and, when fully evolved, would become unstoppable.
And with their DNA, Cell absorbed all their powers and techniques too.
Common among all of them is the power to manipulate ki, or the energy that exists in all living things, and weaponize it to fire energy blasts, fly at faster than light speeds, move things with telekinesis, and create force fields.
From the humans, Krillin and Tien, Cell knows the multiform technique, Destructo Disc, and the Tri-Beam, his extra special favorite. Oh, weird, I'm not seeing Chaozu on this list. Sorry, bud.
Is Chaozu human?
This nigga is the most useless person in Dragon Ball. Hands down. Everybody in Dragon Ball had some type of purpose. This nigga was just there to get blown up.
Oh,
okay. Cell can fire the Death Beam, as well as breathe in and travel through the vacuum of space with the alien genes of Frieza and his father.
and because he's got Piccolo's DNA, Cell can regenerate humongous damage to his body at the cost of some ki.
Cell has survived having half his body vaporized multiple times, and cannot be destroyed unless the small cluster of cells at the core of his being is eradicated.
Should that little bugger survive, Cell will always return, even stronger than before because of the Saiyan DNA he got from Goku and Vegeta. Definitely the cream of the
That one I didn't know. I'm not gonna lie.
genetic crop.
Sure, he can perfectly replicate attacks like the Gallic Gun, Spirit Bomb, and of course Kamehameha, as well as teleport by locking onto a living being's key signature.
But the best part of being a Saiyan is how much crazy stronger they get every time they almost die.
They can even evolve to become orders of magnitude stronger in the midst of battle. Combine that with Cell's healing factor, and he's effectively the ultimate warrior.
Like a perpetual shonen motion machine.
Driven by a biological imperative, Cell wanted nothing more than to devour Gero's previous androids, 17 and 18, believing it would make him perfect.
Only one problem. The Cell we know was born in the future, and both 17 and 18 had been destroyed. So he murdered Trunks and went back in time. Not our Trunks, future Trunks. Well, not future Trunks, but another future Trunks. It's very complicated. There's like 5 timelines.
As Cell defeated and absorbed the androids, he evolved. not only getting stronger, but changing his personality and developing a lust for battle.
He became less creepy bug serial killer and more, well, Saiyan. After exploiting that very Saiyan arrogance and warrior's pride, Cell finally became perfect.
And easily dominated Trunks and Vegeta, the latter of whom had decades of battle experience under his belt.
Perfect Cell's power was off the charts. He could threaten the whole Earth just by powering up. With a full power Kamehameha, he was even capable of destroying our entire solar system.
While the vast majority of our solar system's mass is located in the sun, this still means that Cell's ki wave would have to reach 2.8 billion miles to eradicate every planet.
But Wiz, maybe he was just exaggerating.
Nah,
Not
listen.
likely. Cell's claim has been backed up in multiple guidebooks and even demonstrated outright in the video
Cell
games.
is probably
Cell's
one of the
even
most.
stronger in the anime adaptation, considering the time Frieza blew up Namek. In the anime, the explosion was
He's one of the
literally
ones that you
hundreds
can,
of
like,
light
bring
years
back
wide and lit
now.
up the friggin'
If he had
galaxy.
And
their
Cell
powers
is
now,
far stronger than Frieza was at that point in time.
if he had like a
Hell, the
power up or some
Namekians could
shit, like
sense him
another
all
power
the
up,
way
oh,
from a
it would have
different
been over.
galaxy. And
It would have
thus
been
he might
fucking
be a
over.
threat to the whole universe.
He's also incredibly fast, capable of blitzing even the strongest Z fighters at the time. Goku flew from Grand Kai's planet of heaven all the way to hell, hundreds of billions of light years in half a minute. And that was in his base form.
Yeah, that's cool, but how about the power to squeeze mini Cell Juniors out of your butt? What? Never heard of that key technique? Call it the Kegel.
Perfect Cell was entirely without peer and, no longer wedded to Giro's petty grudge, decided to prove it with a tournament.
The Cell Games! And if Goku couldn't even beat him, what hope did anyone else have? Vegeta couldn't even handle a Cell Junior.
Their last hope was Goku's own son.
Why they got to put that in there? Why they got to do Vegeta like that? Why they got to do Vegeta like that?
Gohan.
After Cell arrogantly let him power up, Gohan unleashed his rage, pushed the bug monster to his absolute limits, and beat him. Wow, Cell, you really are related to Vegeta, aren't you?
In truth, Cell was a victim of his own success. The same Saiyan genes that made him all-powerful also sowed the seeds of his defeat.
He got so mad he even blew himself up. Maybe he does have some Chaozu in him after all.
Even that wasn't enough to totally put him down, and he came back with the same Super Saiyan power-up that Gohan had just unlocked.
Super perfect Cell! Now with more lightning. In a battle for the ages, Cell put the entire weight of his biological programming against one lone Saiyan and went the distance.
But in the end, it still wasn't enough. No matter how brilliantly Dr. Gero copied the Z-Fighters, he still couldn't quite figure out their knack for going beyond.
What can be destroyed can always be rebuilt. All it takes to recreate the most fearsome warrior in the universe is one single cell.
Hey, real quick, did you know Death Battle launched our own tabletop gaming channel? It's called The Night.
I really don't care.
Were saved by Sonic the Hedgehog. No matter how many robotic badniks the good doctor threw at his blue spiky nemesis, his schemes were
I'm
always
sorry.
six-spin
This also reinforced my feeling that Cell's gonna win this. This is a mob. This is a
jumps
mob.
to the glowing wing spot away from getting cracked and scrambled.
But it wouldn't be over easy for Eggman. If he couldn't defeat the Blue Blur, he would make his own, Metal Sonic.
Well, 0 points on creativity for that name, but goddamn, he does look metal as hell.
They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so Eggman built Metal with more than enough blast processing to match his prototype.
Metal can zoom around at massively hypersonic speeds, fast enough to fly to nearby planets in seconds.
He's tougher than Eggman's standard equipment, some of which can survive black holes.
Metal can use all of Sonic's power-ups, and even replicate his classic spin dash and light speed attack.
But he's got moves of his own.
He can attack with energy blast, fire a chest laser, surround himself in an electric aura, or an impenetrable force field.
By overloading his circuitry with energy, Metal can activate V Maximum Overdrive, quadrupling his acceleration and obliterating anything in his path.
Okay.
At the risk of self-destructing.
You'd think
See-
all that'd be enough to turn the rodent into roadkill, but it only took one showdown on Stardust Speedway to send Metal to the scrap heap.
On paper, Metal should be able to outmatch Sonic in every way, and yet he doesn't. For some reason, Eggman wasn't able to capture capture that ineffable quality that makes Sonic the fastest thing alive. Metal's defeats at the hands of Sonic and his friends sharpened his AI into a seething hatred of his rival and a burning desire to prove himself superior.
Yeah, well, when you're getting your supersized red ass handed to you by Charmy B, you know something's gone horribly wrong.
Metal's defeats gave him an existential crisis. If he was created to surpass Sonic and couldn't even manage that, what was he? Why should he exist?
Never one to admit defeat, Eggman took Metal back to the drawing board and birthed him anew.
This Neo Metal Sonic was, above all, far smarter.
Especially after he copied Eggman's intelligence and took over his empire. And we mean literally copied. If Metal started as Sonic's copycat, why not hunt all of his furry friends down and copy them too?
Neo Metal Sonic is equipped with scanners in his optic receptors that can
I didn't know
a
he can do
person's
that.
biodata.
I didn't know he can do
the
that.
ability to recreate all of their abilities in seconds.
Like the Sonic Boom, Knuckles' Hammer Punch, Tails' magical swiveling asshole, and Big's ability to suck at fishing.
Metal isn't just learning their moves, he can replicate more esoteric powers like Silver Psychokinesis, manufacture Rouge's mechanical bat guards, or alter his very biology to copy Espio's chameleon invisibility. It's worth mentioning that biological data is a real scientific term.
That's actually okay.
To molecular
that's changing my opinion a little bit.
Structures like the genome sequence within a living organism's DNA.
It's still like 80%. So
it doesn't really matter that he's a robot made of metal. If you can do it, so can he. Probably helps that he can shapeshift and regenerate his whole body from a puddle.
Likely by copying one of the mightiest beings on the planet, the god of destruction, Chaos.
Not the only chaos he's encountered.
By scanning the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog, he gained his ability to manipulate some of the most powerful artifacts in the universe.
You mean the Chaos Emeralds?
Yes. The emeralds contain an infinite wellspring of mystical power and life energy. With them, Metal can perform Shadow's chaos control. He can teleport, warp, and distort space, boost his speed, and stop time. And with either the Chaos Emeralds or Master Emerald, he can transform into Super Neo Metal Sonic.
Completely invulnerable and completely golden, Super Neo Metal Sonic can move at faster than light speeds and has the power to move continents.
The emeralds are inconceivably powerful. They've been used to fuel Eggman's Death Egg, which could obliterate star systems.
On their own, they can even create and destroy whole universes.
Other super characters like Sonic have battled and defeated beings like the Time Eater, who could destroy multiple dimensions and timelines in seconds. At their peak, 3 super hedgehogs have even fought Solaris, who nearly consumed Sonic's entire multiverse.
So Super Neo Metal Sonic should be just as powerful as any of them, though he's gotta be quick because all that power only lasts a short time.
The road to total domination was nearly at an end. After manipulating Sonic and friends and copying their abilities, Metal eventually combined their biodata with the mighty Egg Fleet and became Metal Overlord.
Complete with missiles, giant crystals.
This is not Metal Sonic, bro. This is a stretch.
Projectiles and the strength to match
But I
3
guess
supersonic heroes all by himself. Overlord is all-time final boss material.
And he knew it. His ego might as well have had its own health bar. Metal's drive to surpass his rival had morphed into the delusional belief that he was the original, and Sonic the loathsome copy.
A copy that Metal had finally outclassed. All the heroes Metal had gathered had to team up to take him down.
He may have stolen their abilities, but Metal never possessed the thing that made the Sonic heroes successful: their friendship and teamwork.
Aw, how cute! Gag. Probably should have added some of those goddamn rails to the final boss fight, because it is impossible to land on those things. After getting trashed again, Eggman reprogrammed Metal to purge any bits of rebelliousness from his code.
Metal returned to being the Eggman Army's chief enforcer, always proving invaluable as the Bad Doctor's greatest creation, now completely obedient once again.
I don't know, Wiz. Who knows what's really going on behind those glowing
So what Metal Sonic are we about to get?
red eyes? Maybe Metal is more cunning than he lets on, and is only biding his time until he can take over again.
Maybe the most... All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Salutations, Dr.
Salutations. This nigga, yo. I gotta sell. Gotta sell first.
Mission precedes you. Bring me your strongest fighter or face. Then prepare to kneel before your master.
Okay, we're getting Neo. Yeah.
Tell me, does a machine like yourself ever experience fear? Not anymore.
That's already? Isn't that his like strongest form? Am I bugging? Isn't that his strongest form?
Fool, you're dealing with the ultimate life form. I already possess his data. Observe. Chaos! Done. True. Life form data successfully copied. Scum! It'll take more than that to kill me, puppet! I know. Now I know everything about you, insect.
That shit looks crazy.
Soon. Go. Don't you dare.
I guess.
I am not just the greatest warrior in the universe. I am all of them.
Yeah.
If you are all of them, then so am I. I'll never lose to a machine like...
I'm not jacking that. I'm not jacking that. I'm not jacking that.
I'll crush you.
I'm not jacking that, bro.
So,
I'm not jacking that. That's bullshit. I'm not jacking. You just, nigga, how do you tell me he lost? That's understandable, right? Cell powers up. Sonic, Metal Sonic powers down. And he loses. Yes. And then on top of that, the shot through the heart, again, key. He just revived his whole body. On a spade.
Now Metal's got all the powers of the Chaos Emeralds and the Z Fighters? Well, that world's fucked. Our bad.
Cell may have been one of the greatest threats in Dragon Ball Z, but Eggman's greatest creation ultimately proved too much for him. Let's break this down into 4 categories: strength, speed, abilities, and adaptation.
First up, who was the strongest? Well, it's no surprise that any version of Cell was gonna be way more powerful than base Metal or Neo. Even just using the manga, blowing up a solar system is far beyond the level of power output Metal can match.
Without his stronger forms. With them, the power gap in time
Nigga used his first form in like the first 5 seconds.
entirely reversed. Not only could Metal match Cell's solar system busting or scaling from Frieza, but he could surpass it with the universe-destroying power of the Emeralds.
But hang on, Wiz. Those Namekians said that Cell was strong enough to threaten a universe on his own.
They did, but they didn't specify how, and there's nothing suggesting he can destroy it in one go, especially since it's only brought up theoretically and without any time frame.
Even being generous and assuming he could just blow it up, Final Boss.
And then we're also being theoretical with assuming that Metal Sonic is able to use the full power of the emeralds. We already understand that it takes a different type of connection with the emeralds for him to be able to do that. He doesn't have that. We already understand that because he's a fucking machine.
Bosses like Time Eater and Solaris can destroy the wider multiverse, and Super Neo Metal would scale to them. Metal Sonic takes the edge in strength.
And with Sonic characters being known for their speed, you might think that was an easy win for Metal.
At his max speed in his super form, he should be comparable to entities like the Time Eater, who in Shadow Generations can destroy entire universes in seconds. By using the radius of the observable universe, we can estimate the Time Eater's destructive wave traveled at about 180 quadrillion times faster than light.
Certainly impressive, but let's compare that to Goku's flight from heaven to hell shortly after the Cell games, which covered roughly a universe in distance at approximately 180 quadrillion times faster than light.
Hey, just like Time Eater. The difference, though, was that Goku was in his base form, way slower than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan or Super Perfect Cell.
Factoring in Super Saiyan multipliers, Super Perfect Cell can move upwards of 100 times faster than that, and so 100 times faster than Metal Sonic. Somehow, Cell takes the edge in speed. You know, the thing Metal was designed for.
Wasn't expecting that. Let's see if any of their abilities could tip the scales.
They shared many of the same powers, like telekinesis, force fields, and energy projectiles. Of note though, Cell's regeneration was clearly superior,
Nah, that
able
shit
to
pissed
fully
me
heal
off.
from a single cluster of microscopic cells.
That shit
On
pissed
top
me
of that,
off.
Cell's Saiyan genes would let him grow in power
Bro,
every time
this
he
is
almost
balmy
died.
right now,
And
bro.
his
I'm
Cell
not gonna
Juniors
lie.
gave him the numbers advantage.
And considering
Because
Super
I'm
Neo
not
Metal
gonna,
had a
like,
time limit,
I'm sorry, nigga. I'm dying on this hill. So it's mopping this nigga. Cell is mopping this nigga. What the fuck are we even talking about? I'm sorry, bro.
Cell would have a big advantage in a battle.
I'm not
of attrition.
jacking
But
this
with
one.
chaos control,
I'm sorry,
that
Dead
became a
Battle. I'm
lot
not
tougher.
jacking this
Cell
one.
and his juniors had no way to deal with Metal boosting his speed or stopping time, something that countered Cell's speed advantage and left him open. And with Silver's psychokinesis, or the Emerald spatial distortion, Metal could seriously impair Cell's healing.
So it helped that Cell could fall back on his martial arts abilities in a pinch.
Despite effectively being a newborn, Cell's genetic instincts allowed him to best Earth's most skilled warriors back to back to back.
Metal may have copied Eggman's brains, but he definitely isn't as good of a fighter. The Sonic heroes haven't trained like the Z fighters, and Metal's been beaten by all of them a bunch of times. So all that in mind, abilities is roughly a wash.
Which leaves us with the one thing they're both known for, their capability to evolve and become more powerful in response to their opponents, aka their adaptation.
And frankly, that's where this back and forth completely breaks. Because at the end of the day, Metal can copy Cell, but Cell can't absorb Metal.
Cell's ability to physically
Technically, you can.
absorb an opponent is primarily viable against foes he can match or overpower.
Even if he took Metal by surprise, he can't absorb fully inorganic robots like Android 16.
Cell was only able to absorb
Oh,
Androids
damn.
17 and 18
I didn't know
because
that.
they were primarily organic.
They're actually more like
I didn't know
cyborgs
that.
and are only called androids in the English translation.
Metal, on the other hand, can copy a target's biodata through only a few seconds of direct eyesight. something he could easily accomplish during a time stop.
And using it on Cell means he wouldn't just get Cell's powers, but the powers of all of the Z Warriors too.
Remember, Metal's copying applies to abilities that fundamentally affect his own biology, like Espio's invincibility or Chaos's liquid body. Nothing Cell has would be off limits, especially given all of Cell's powers were genetically encoded in the first place, quite literally biodata.
Cell's Saiyan power-ups? Copied. Cell's regeneration? Copied.
No, 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 no. That's cap. Regenerating your body? I'm not believing that one. Being able to stay powered up in Super Saiyan? I'm not believing that one either, bro. I'm sorry. Those
Cell's
two I'm not
key
giving you.
techniques, believe it or not,
Key techniques,
copied.
I'll
Chaos
give
Emeralds
you.
are described as being able to produce life energy, similar to Ki. So there's a precedent for him being able to replicate Cell's power set. And at this point, there's nothing stopping Metal from, say, stopping time and using a Kamehameha to vaporize him at a cellular level, just like Gohan did.
Cell might be able to do anything the Z Fighters know how to do, but that's not gonna help him, cause Metal can do anything Cell knows how to do. Strange, isn't it?
Cell just doesn't have any options to retaliate that Metal wouldn't also possess, including any of his previous advantages. Metal's copy ability is just that overpowered.
Oh, I guess now I get why they called it Sonic CD.
Why's that?
Cell died.
Fuck you. Good video. Good video. But like, I'm not jacking it still. Sorry.